Vladimir Putin and that extraordinary challenge to Putin's grip on power. Tonight, Putin has now addressed the Russian people after the 24-hour mutiny by his longtime ally, Yevgeny Prigozhin, and his mercenary army. They had been fighting for Russia against Ukraine, but then started heading toward Moscow, coming within 120 miles of the Kremlin, then halting, turning back. So what stopped them? Tonight here, news on this apparent deal, the world, of course, watching. And where is the leader of that mercenary group? Tonight, Prigozhin speaking for the first time since the aborted mutiny, but audio only, not seen in public since Saturday now. Prigozhin's forces were cheered as heroes as they headed back to their headquarters after they stood down. Russians taking photos of a smiling Prigozhin. Again tonight, his whereabouts still unknown. What is also not known, what comes next. And tonight we have learned the White House has now been in touch with Russia. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leading us off inside Ukraine tonight.
Tonight, Russian President Vladimir Putin attempting damage control after the biggest ever threat to his 24-year rule, one that's left him looking humiliated and weakened. Putin denouncing the organizers of the rebellion for betraying Russia, not mentioning Yevgeny Prigozhin by name, but insisting that an armed uprising would have been suppressed anyway. It comes after the mercenary leader also spoke out today for the first time since the revolt, in an audio message saying the mutiny was against attempts to dissolve his Wagner force into the regular Russian army, slated to begin next week. Claiming he stopped the advance short of Moscow to avoid shedding Russian blood, and that his forces went as a protest and not to overthrow the Putin government. It all began late Friday evening, when Prigozhin suddenly announces his troops are crossing the border back into Russia in a march against military leaders. By Saturday morning, Prigozhin says his fighters have taken key military headquarters and an airfield in the city of Rostov-on-Don. Attacked by Russian aircraft, Wagner troops reportedly bring down 6 helicopters and 1 fighter jet. But overall, the resistance is slight and his men march north towards Moscow.
За наш суверенитет и независимость.
An angry Vladimir Putin addressing the nation then, saying he's been stabbed in the back, warning of civil war. By nightfall, the mutineers are now about 120 miles from Moscow, where defences are being hastily thrown up. Moscow's mayor even urging residents to stay indoors. Then Prigozhin suddenly orders a surprise halt after the leader of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, emerges to broker a deal. Prigozhin and his men, given an amnesty, are cheered by locals like conquering heroes as they start to withdraw. Making his first public comments today, President Biden saying the US was coordinating with key allies throughout the crisis.
We're going to keep assessing the fallout of this weekend's events and the implications for Russia and Ukraine. But it's still too early to reach a definitive conclusion about where this is going.
Prigozhin is a multimillionaire who built his empire from a humble hot dog stand to massive catering contracts for the Kremlin. An ally of the Russian president, he was nicknamed Putin's chef. But his empire expanded into private military contracts. Wagner forces accused of a string of war crimes, working with Russia, allying themselves with groups involved in conflicts in Libya and Syria. Now he's synonymous with undermining the very man he used to serve, Vladimir Putin. Ukraine trying to seize on the instability within Russia to press their counter-offensive on multiple fronts, claiming to make more modest gains today.
Well, this has been really something to witness. Ian Pannell right there inside Ukraine force again tonight. And Ian, is there any word where Yevgeny Prigozhin is tonight and what may happen to him and what may happen to his forces?
Yeah, I mean, David, we know that he was offered amnesty and the chance to go to Belarus, but that audio recording you talked about doesn't give any clues as to his whereabouts now. His fighters have 3 choices: return to camp, which some appear to have done, but now agree to be part of the Russian army, return home, or also go to Belarus. So really, we wait to learn more, but it seems unlikely that we've heard or seen the last of either Yevgeny Prigozhin or those Wagner fighters.